Hey folks, All Outdoor One here and welcome to another video. Today I'll be filming from outdoors, doing a nice little overnighter in the woods tonight, and the day has turned out absolutely idyllic. As you can see, the sun is just streaming in at the moment. Beautiful. It is absolutely lush and green out here at the moment. Well folks, this is my second snake I've seen in the wild in the UK. The first one being that big ass black adder that I saw a few years back. I can't remember which video that was on now, but have a look through, you can find it. Check out this little beastie here. I'm not sure what kind of snake it is. First time I've seen a snake in the wild in the UK, to be honest. This is just a little grass snake, I think, and he's a beauty, probably about 30 centimeters in length. Really lovely looking. He must have been just catching the last of the day's sun on the pathway here. Moving very slowly. And there he goes, or she, and there we have it. Well, there we have it, a snake. One of the many reasons I just like coming into the countryside and seeing what you can see. You never know what you'll find around the next tree or corner. Well folks, so here I am doing a bit of summer camping, probably my least favourite camping. Much prefer it in the cold weather. Not sure why, maybe I'm damaged, but somehow I find it more fun when it's cold out. I don't know, maybe it just feels like more of an adventure somehow. But summertime camping is good in its own ways. Lots of bird noise, animal chatter, and of course all the greenery everywhere does make it somewhat more pleasant environment generally, but as I said, less of a challenge somehow. Well folks, I've got about an hour and 20 minutes worth of sunlight left for today, so I will have to crack on, get my camp set up and go and get some firewood, and I'll get back to you once I start prepping the firewood. Just a second folks, I'll be with you in a minute. So, one of the bits of kit I've been really excited to come out into the woods and test is this, my new ThermArest NeoAir. Depending on how the tests of this go, I may be stocking these at some point soon in my shop. I've been waiting for a really lightweight sleeping solution for a while now. I've been using another product recently, which was basically a Chinese rip-off of a different ThermArest design, which is basically like an ultra lightweight folding aluminium cot. The Chinese rip-off version is about a third of the price of the proper ThermArest version. I think it was about 40 or 50 pounds. Got it from eBay, I believe. And just wanted to see how it worked. And as far as comfort is concerned, I have to say those cots are really comfortable because they raise you off the ground, so there's very little body heat being leached away through the ground. But I'm not sure about the real ThermArest version. I have yet to try that, and perhaps I will if this doesn't work out for me. But the Chinese version was very fiddly to put together, which is bad enough once you arrive at camp and you're tired and you just want to get your bed and sleeping arrangement sorted, then you know you have to faff around for about 15-20 minutes with just the bed component, which I think is a little ridiculous, frankly. Perhaps the ThermArest one is easier to put together, I don't know. I suspect that costing 3 times as much, it probably is a little better constructed, I would imagine. However, the Chinese one, nevertheless, it was very comfortable. As I said, you're raised off the ground, and somehow there's less condensation in the tent from being raised off the ground. Another drawback of it, however, was that taking it apart again was equally difficult and tedious. So yeah, saw these recently. This is the ThermArest NeoAir. I think it's the SV with speed valve. Now the claims are that the speed valve can get this thing inflated in just a few seconds, supposedly, but we'll give it a go and see how it does. Comes in this nice stuff sack, which does actually properly fit it for a change. So this is the large version. I'm a tall guy, so I wanted the big version. So supposedly all I need to do now, yeah, that is the NeoAir, and it's got this speed valve, which basically should allow you to inflate this in about 20 or 30 puffs. And that seems to be it, folks. Right, that was my first time inflating it in the wild, so to speak, and very minimal effort, a lot easier than your standard, using the standard valve, which is just there, the standard kind of self-inflating mattress valve. Only had to put about 15 breaths into it, and it's very rigid and should keep me isolated off the ground. If you find during the night that you need more air in there, you can always just unscrew this valve and top up the air to your comfort level. So I'll give you a report tomorrow as to how comfortable sleeping on this thing was. It's supposed to be rated down to pretty cold conditions. This is a 4-season rated one, so temperature wise shouldn't be a problem. One thing I found with sleeping mats, especially just inflating ones, not so much the self-inflating ones, is that they always tend to lose air pressure throughout the night. So I'm really hoping that that's not the situation with this one. Testing this indoors so far, I found that if I'm on my side or on my knees or elbows, I can't touch the floor. So I'm guessing that that means in practice I won't be touching the ground when I'm asleep tonight. But as I said, I'll give you some more test results tomorrow. Right folks, those of you not familiar with the British rules of bushcrafting, rule number 1 is get the brew on. By brew we mean tea, and we're good to go. A new little lightweight cooking system I'm testing out at the moment. see how good or bad it is. I don't know if you can hear that, but faintly in the distance I can hear some kind of techno-y music. Those pesky kids again. But seriously, I've done this before. I've come out to this spot, which is one of my favourite spots out here, and have actually had to put up with shit techno music until about 4 or 5 in the morning, when they finally, I guess the drugs wore out or something, and they fucked off and went to sleep. Excuse my French, but you know, I come out here to get some peace and quiet, so it's bad timing when the youth turn up here. Who do they think they are? Obviously they're entitled to enjoy the woodland just as much as anybody else, so you know, I can make allowances. If the situation is repeated today, I've got my night vision stuff here, which I was very kindly gifted at Christmas, so I will be stalking some high people tonight if they persist with the thumping music. But back to the relaxing cup of tea. So recently I've started selling these. This is the Cape Glow Bar. This is a design of my own creation, and it's probably the brightest glow in the dark marker available on the market. So it should charge up in about 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Okay, so there we go, fully charged. I'm going to kill the light now, and that is what we're left with. So as you can see, that's mega bright. So that's the Cape Glow Bar, available from alphabushcraft.com. These will actually glow for about 24 hours once fully charged, and for about 8 hours it produces a kind of useful level of light, and then after that it will sort of be visible for at least 24 hours, if not slightly longer. Particularly useful once your eyes are fully adjusted to the dark. I mean, this thing is incredibly bright. Inside a tent, you can basically pick out your tools and bits and pieces around you whilst you sleep, your mobile phone for example. Personally, when I'm out in the woods, I switch my mobile fully off anyway, so that's not for me, but you could use it to mark any piece of gear that's useful, particularly if you have it hanging overhead. Then when you wake up in the middle of the night to go for a pee, you can quickly get your clothes together, whatever you need, and open the door and go for a pee. So very useful multi-use item there. That's the Cape Glow Bar. Well folks, I'm just wandering around the woods at night on a little nighttime navigation exercise, testing out my new Sunto Traverse Alpha, and so far I've got to say I'm really impressed with this bad boy. So folks, as you can see, I've sort of got it into zoomed in active path mode. Eye and the arrow in the middle, and I'm just turning around now, and obviously that follows wherever you are. I'm not getting the best footage of this here. I have to say I'm impressed with how quickly the GPS signal locks on. Usually it takes about 20 seconds or so, 20-30 or seconds or so, and so far has performed admirably. Just on a little experimental mission now. I've got about another kilometre to go till I reach the final destination, and then I'll turn back. And I've also got camp marked on the watch, because there are several ways that you can navigate using this watch. Number one, you can set certain GPS locations and then install it onto your phone. So you've got about 100 GPS locations that you can store on here, and alternatively you can press a record button and that starts recording wherever you're going. Starting point will be wherever you press record from, and then you can actually backtrack, navigate using that function. Final way to navigate is that you can actually go onto Google Maps or similar program a route which you can follow roads, paths, anything along those lines, or you can just navigate sort of freehand, plot your route freehand, and then you can install that route onto your phone, and obviously you can start navigating from any direction, and you can either navigate towards the end or the finish, so you can go forwards along the route that you've pre-programmed, or you can reverse that same route, so you can start up at, you can end at the beginning basically. But I have to say, I'm really liking the way this works. It's just exactly what I was after. And obviously you can do this independent of any sort of mobile phone signal. Absolutely no requirement for that. This works strictly off GPS. Obviously there is a Bluetooth function, so you can hook it up to your PC or phone, sorry, and that's how you can install all the routes that you've pre-programmed in Google Maps or a similar program. Hope that's all making sense so far. Well folks, just coming up to a bend soon. Got about 500 meters until the end of my route now, and I'll just show you what the bend looks like in reality as I approach it. I'm just being stalked by a badger or possibly a deer. I can see the eyes poking. Oh, it's a bunch of deer. There's a water behind this fencing here. There's actually quite a large pond, and they must have been drinking. You know what? For this nighttime photography malarkey, I think I'm going to have to upgrade my flashlight. I thought 1000 lumens would be enough for anything, but when you're trying to film things further away at night, this really just doesn't cut it, unfortunately. Oh well. So anyway, we've got our turn just coming up ahead of us. And indeed, here it is. And my watch is vibrating, telling me that I'm at a checkpoint and to change direction. So that's a good thing. I am genuinely loving this at the moment. Right, I'll keep you updated as I get closer to the end of this nighttime navigation exercise. Wow, really quiet here, lovely. Right, onwards and upwards. I'm about 100 meters away from some deer. They're looking right at the camera. You can just see the eyes moving. I can't want to scare them off. Choo! Huh, interesting, they didn't even move. I think the light's confusing them. Sorry, you can't get a better view. Anyway, I'm going to continue on my journey. They're just cool animals, aren't they? Anywho.